Alright guys, I've been asked to kind of do like an advanced Aequor tutorial type of thing because that's pretty much the only team I play. This probably isn't like the best, most optimal Aequor build, but this is what works for me. Uh, First, I'm going to go over like what I used when I was free to play, like completely free to play, and I beat the game the first time on normal. And then I'll go over the team I'm kind of like using now, and then like after that, I'll kind of talk about like what I'm trying to do with Pharaohs at the moment. But I'll leave a timestamp to like the premium thing if you're not really interested in like the free to play. Again, I've only spent again. I keep talking again because like I've done a bunch of videos on this, but I've spent $50 in the game, which I said I was going to do if they like continued the game after like chapter 9, which they did. But I wasted like a third of that money on like the pass because like I started a pass and I did not play it at all, which was really dumb. So I'd say I probably had like 30 bucks of actually used money in this game. I haven't like I'm not a big whale or anything. This is like the only mobile game I've spent money on. But first, this is my free to play team. One thing about Aequor is stats are super important in Aequor. Also, back when I was playing, you couldn't like mix and match like Ultra, Aequor, stuff like that. So my team was like Aequor Chaos because Karen is by far the best healer in the game, free to play. I don't think there's any way you can really deny that at all. One thing that's super important to check about Aequor or any faction is where did it go? There used to be a thing that, oh, well, I guess this will work. But the reason why stats are so important on Aequor is like Constitution, how much health you get, is how much shield you'll get if you go to Calm Sea stance, which is kind of huge because that's one thing about Aequor is that they have like built-in sustain. A lot of the factions do not get like free shield and stuff like that. Aequor does, which is super nice if you're like Aequor's kind of like I think Goliath by far has like the highest stats in the game. Like Cassius's main stat is Constitution, and Goliath is still more. Like Goliath's stats are freaking ridiculous. Um, so that's why I have Goliath and Cassius on this team because they're both free to play and they both have huge stats. And Cassius is just so good free to play because he's retaliation based, and retaliation is good against like a lot of the enemies in the story mode because they all have like multiple attacks. Sanga's basically just here for survivability and to add tentacles. Like her Mercy is Beauty. Like the 4 cost that gives a tentacle is super nice and it gives a ton of shield. And her ult's like really good burst early game as well. Karen gives Arithmetica, which is super nice. I'm not going to set up the covenants on these guys because that's just a pain in the butt. But I'll talk about covenants when we get to like my current-ish team. Let's do a match real quick so we can kind of go through this. It might be a little bit hard without my covenants, but... But yeah, we're going to do the free-to-play team first, and then we'll do... I'm just doing this on normal. The other team. I always like the Miriam one. I know it takes away a little bit of alienness, but it gives 2 draw and 2 points of Arithmetica is like pretty nuts. I just don't want to do the Covenants. I think it's going to ask, but skip story. And it's been a while since I played this team as well, since like my other team is quite a bit better. But this team's good enough to beat the story. If you're like struggling through the story and you have resources, it kind of sucks if you don't have resources. You're kind of SOL a little bit. This one gives you like a bunch of copies of one card. I'll probably take the shield because it's 1 cost, and it gives alienness to Sangha. Also, my team wasn't as stacked as it is now. I don't even like the Delight one. I'll probably put it on Goliath's Defense because I'll probably remove that. Also, like one thing that's really good to do, like in any card game, is get your deck like as minimal as possible. Like as few cards, if like you have excessive cards, like cards you don't need. Because then you won't draw them as much, which is really nice. Alright. So, Polar Glow is nice. Just going to use it to get the Beauty's Mercy. I know that some of this stuff is just for like this story chapter, but still. But yeah, that's the main thing about Song is her defense and growing you getting you tentacles. Because a lot of damage by Aequor is done by tentacles. And one thing that's super important on Aequor is Realm Mastery. The more Realm Mastery you have, when you exalt, the more tentacle slaps you're going to get. So like, if I exalt and I have like, I don't know, 200 Realm Mastery, I'm just making these numbers up, I might get like 3 tentacle slaps per tentacle. So it like multiplies based on how many tentacles you have and how much Realm Mastery when you exalt. One thing I would say is, if you're not going to kill somebody, it's probably best early game to just go Calm Sea Stance, unless you're not taking damage. So, I'm not taking much damage here, so I probably won't do it here, but like typically, if you're going to take damage and you're not going to kill anything, it's usually better to go Calm Sea Stance just to avoid damage. Also, it's a little bit different as well with Karen, because Karen can heal you back up. Toadstool is always good. Weakness and vulnerable are super important. One thing... Oh, I should have talked about the wheels. We'll talk about the wheels after this. Actually, we can do it right now. So, one of my favorite wheels that I've always used, I don't know if it's the best, but I love it, is Deep Dream of the Sea that you can get from the shop for the pearls, which you can get from like events and whatnot. It literally gives you strength like every turn, and I think it's like based off your character's like already built-in stats. So strength gives you tentacle damage, and this gives you strength. So that's like constantly scaling. And one thing that's important about Cassius is the more damage you do with Shattered Halberd, crit, vulnerable, it doesn't matter what it is, it adds to your retaliate gain. So that's one thing. It's not like flat retaliate with Cassius. It's literally based off like how much damage this does. This will get reduced. If you're like on like if it says Madness up here, it won't give you as much retaliate. I think it's like half, but it's still pretty good. So you see how it does 81 damage here. If I gain more strength by using Midas Makes Right, I'll do 110. And then he didn't crit, so I just got 110. But if you would have crit for like 300, I would have got 300 retaliate, which is quite nuts. This card kind of, it's not the worst, but it kind of sucks. Because, like, the problem with it is that you have to, like, pretty much predict the fragile. Like, I think he might be fragile on me. No, he's not fragile on me. But if you do it now, it's not going to get rid of the fragile this turn, which kind of sucks. And it'll get rid of it next turn, but I don't have it next turn. So you kind of have to pay attention to the monster's intentions to basically get rid of that. One of these tentacles is bound to crit because I have well, actually, I don't have my covenants on, so I don't know if it'll crit or not. But that's something you have to take into account as well. Like, sometimes they'll say 400 here, and then a tentacle will crit and it'll kill something that's, like, higher than the actual damage. Something to go over here is when you have, like, say I have 122 retaliate, if I had used this, they would take 181 damage, or 183 damage, because this makes pretty much your retaliate do another 50% damage, which is really nice. This is a really good card. I wish it had the ready, where it like reduces in cost, because I feel like I hold on to it a lot, because three arithmetic is a lot, but if you're doing a Cassius build, this is usually something you're going to use quite often, because your retaliate's going to be like your main damage. Goliath is literally just here as kind of like a very weird damage reducer. One thing I always use on Goliath is this. So whenever you strike, it reduces the power by 24. This is huge. Well, you can actually get it up to like 72, but if like there's multiple enemies, and you use like an AoE strike, because Goliath's ult counts as a strike, it'll put it on multiple enemies, and then you can only it'll be like 24, 24, 24, and then you're done with that wheel. But if you get 72 on the same person, and they're doing like a multi-attack, like this would only do 1 damage this turn. But if I had 72, this would be like 118 or something like that. So... But, like, multi-attacks, it kills it. Like, it because most multi-attacks don't do as much damage because of the multiples. And if you can reduce the power on it, it's huge. It is so massive. Like, say he was going to do like 78 damage, like 7 times or something like that. And then I reduced the damage by 72. I would only take like 42 damage instead of like 560 or something like that. I'm just making up the numbers, but that's probably in the ballpark somewhere. But yeah, which is huge. That's crazy. See, I got like 2 crits there, so he died easy. That's why I left this in this stance instead of going defense stance, because I was going to kill something. But usually you want to, especially early game when you don't have like Murphy and stuff, you want to like make sure you're taking the least amount of damage as possible. Oh, that wisdom wheel. That thing is crazy. The problem is like with Sangha, and this is why Sanga's not on my team anymore, you can only gain so many tentacles without like certain items, but because she doesn't increase tentacle limit. That's something we'll talk about when we get to Miriam, which is more of a premium champion. These are all free-to-play champions I'm using right now. So there's no Miriam, there's no Murphy, nothing like that. So once I get this to max, can't get any more tentacles. So if I use this again, I won't get another tentacle, but it will slap. It'll give like however many slaps. It'll be like 5 slaps. Because it's like, no, it won't be 5 slaps. It'll be 1 slap right now. If you have multiple slaps, like per tentacle, it'll do multiple slaps. Or it might do 5 slaps. We'll find out next turn. But see, this is a strike. And then 24, if he was doing damage, it would reduce it. I'm not taking any damage this turn, so I'm going to stay in regular surge stance just to do optimal damage. I could just ult with Sangha right now and kill. One thing to remember with Sangha is her ult is kind of based... Oh, shit. I forgot they changed that where it's like a one-click thing. So I don't want to kill this guy if I can help it. Because, like, if you are in your early game fights, it's good to, like, stack Alimus at the end of the fight. Like, once you kill the enemies that do, like, a lot of damage, he's not doing any damage to me. So I should try to keep him alive as long as possible while I spam defenses and strikes so I can get my Alimus up for other fights. Because you keep your Alimus between rounds. That's like a little story thing that can help you out a lot. See, the crit almost killed him there. And he's going to die. No, he's going to live. I was about to say, but retaliate might kill him. Oh, my Mercy Maid Beauty was like a phantasm thing because of that one thing, so it didn't stay, so I can't really tell. He would have died in 1 slap anyways. I usually like to keep this until it's like fully stacked if I can help. Depends, actually. If you use Karen's Rouse, this is one thing that makes Karen and Casey kind of wonderful together. When Karen plays a card after you rouse, you get Alimus for every card use, and you heal. Which that heal really adds up. So this at 0 cost, which is how you get it originally, if you're roused, heals extra, gives you Alimus, so you don't want to hold it. You want to spam it, in my opinion. Even though it gets really strong if you stack it. Also, you need to have Karen's copies to like make it where it stacks. So, Toadstool if you can. Sometimes you have to use it early because you want the weakness. Weakness is so good. I think it's like a flat 25% off damage. Anything that's like a % off damage is massive in this game. That's why Murphy is like probably the best defender in the game later on. And that's why Sangha and Alva are not as good later in the game, because they give flat defense. Also, something that's important, I know we went over this in the free-to-play tutorial, you can only have as much defense as you have health. So that's another reason why having, like, good stats is important. That's why I don't use Celeste. Because Celeste, even though she has Revive, which is crazy, her stats are so bad. Karen's stats are bad too, but not as bad as Celeste. And, she's just so much better at giving Arithmetica, and she heals more in everything, pretty much. So, like, here I want to spam defenses and strikes. Mainly defenses, because you don't want to kill the enemy. You kind of want to let... So I'm getting my Alimus back. Strikes and defenses give Alimus. Usually these cards do not. So that's something to remember. I know that's like a free-to-play tutorial thing, but just go over it again. Instead of like doing a strike this turn and killing him, it's better to let the turn end because you get your Alimus for the team when the turn ends. So you'll see I get Alimus for that. Goliath, if you have it where you have his Overexalt, you never, if you can help it, should never use Goliath's ult without Overexalt. His Overexalt makes his 3 strike things you get free, which is super important. I'm going to show you the combo between Goliath and Cassius, which I think is kind of why my team does like a butt ton of damage. Let's see. Let's get to the next fight. Also, I'm talking a lot, but this is supposed to be a tutorial, so this isn't like a rush through and try to beat the level as fast as possible kind of thing. I usually don't do like tutorial type videos because most people realize that I'm not playing like super optimally, but I was asked to do it, so I'm trying my best. I don't like taking random symptoms unless I have like a cursed artifact that works with random symptoms. I always awaken Karen first because of the 5 points of alienness on all of her skills. The more you can spam Karen's ult, the better. Because a lot of cards in Aequor take a lot of Arithmetica. A lot of people like Tulu. I don't like Tulu. But because Tulu has a 4 cost, I feel like if you play Tulu, you have to focus on Tulu. You have to use Tulu. And I just don't like that as much, personally. I love Tulu in the story. I don't like Tulu in the game. But, so this is the order of the rouses I do with this free-to-play team. It'll be Karen, Cassius, Goliath, Sangha. If you replace anybody on this team with a premium person, it's probably going to be Sangha first. Unless you have Miriam and not Murphy, because you need Sangha. You need one defensive person with this team comp, I think. Just for sustainability. I guess you don't have to. You could do Miriam and Karen. That'd be kind of interesting, actually. But, yeah, what's good about these two together is, like, they both heal when they use any card of theirs, which is so sick. But she gets alienness, which he does not, for, like, every card. Strikes, defenses, her special cards, anything. Okie dokie. I always try to use Mercy as Beauty while I had Sangha, because I just feel like the tentacle gain is so important. On Aequor, tentacles can do your like most damage by far, easily. So this is a fun thing to do. If you're going to give the enemy, like, temporary power, if you have Goliath and you have the strong rule, it used to be Might Makes Right. I don't know why it's a strong rule. Might Makes Right made so much more sense. But you could give them the strength and then you could take the strength, which is freaking hilarious, actually. But, yeah, because I went from, like, not killing anybody. Well, with Vulnerable, I'm definitely... I might kill both of them, actually. It'll be close, if I get crits. Actually, I am going to kill them all. Wow. Yeah, probably. One thing about Sangha is, like, some of the early game, like, fights before you start ramping up your team can be kind of hard. Definitely in some of these chapters, especially when you're not, like, fully maxed on things. But Sanga's ult always hits like a truck. I should have went Calm Sea Stance first, but I'm just not used to it, like, automatically using the ult. I'm used to, like, it asking you, are you sure you want to do this? Now I don't do that anymore. I guess people are complaining. But, yeah. But you see how my tentacle smacks went up when I used Sanga's ult? It was ×3, but then when I did the Sangha ult, it was ×5. That's because of Realm Mastery. If I had more Realm Mastery, it could have been, like, ×7, ×8. So that's kind of why, like, with Aequor, I try to use all my exalts at the same time. Even sometimes when I don't really need an exalt, like Murphy's exalt, like I might not be taking a butt ton of... Well, we'll get back. Well, let's talk about that because we're talking about the exalts. Like Murphy's exalt reduces damage by half, so it's not something you always want, but it does tentacle slap as well. So sometimes, like when I use Goliath over exalt, Cassius over exalt, Miriam's exalt, Murphy, and now I'll use Murphy's exalt, even if I'm not taking a ton of damage, just so I can wombo combo the hell out of somebody. You might need to be careful though, because when you're in Madness difficulty, some enemies will only take a certain amount of damage, so then you want to hold your Murphy ult, because you're going to get like capped on your damage anyways. Something that's interesting as well, and something to keep in... Well, we'll talk about that later. I'm trying to stay on one thing. I have a hard time, like, I sometimes ramble about, like, more and more and more and get farther and farther away from what I'm doing at the time, so bear with me. I'm trying to keep it, like, separated as best I can. Okay, so this is her rouse. So instead of 9 alien miss, I'm gonna get 14. I'm trying to think. Sorry. See, this usually doesn't give alien miss as well, but now I'll get 5 from it. And that's why I kind of like use it as soon as I get it. I would take damage here, and I'm not going to kill him, so I'm going to go Calm Sea Stance. Is that what it's called now? I don't know. They keep changing the names. I know it reduces your damage by a ton, but sometimes sustainability is like your biggest thing. You want to take as least damage as possible before the boss fights, for sure. Something we need to talk about Sangha as well when we get out of this battle is death resist affects Sangha in a certain way. I'll have to look at it and see what it is. I haven't played with Sangha in forever. But she's like one of... I used to use Alva at the very start of my run, but Sanga's a little bit better for Aequor because of her tentacle gain and whatnot. But those two are interchangeable, honestly. It's not that big of a difference. Does this affect shielding? No, it doesn't. Okay, cool. But yeah, you see how I'm getting like 4 shield every tentacle slap? That's because of my constitution. The more health you have, like if you have Celeste and you have like 800 health, you're only getting 2 shield per tentacle slap. Maybe 1 shield per tentacle slap. Also, the total shield is also based off your constitution. Like how I'm getting like 172. If you have like 800 health, you're getting like 60. So... Maybe 80, I don't know. But I don't know exactly how the conversion works. But that's why Constitution is really important. That's why Goliath is on, like, all my Aequor teams. It's too bad I don't have any strikes. I could Goliath all here and get his strikes, but, like, it costs 2 mana a strike at first, and I don't think that's super great. Definitely when I could block it anyways, mostly. With some of these people, you can kind of, as long as you're not taking a lot of damage too, you can kind of war of attrition them as well, so you can get your rouses back and everything. But if you're, the more damage you're taking from an enemy, the faster you want to kill it typically. Some of them like scale ridiculously if you don't kill them fast enough. I could kill this guy faster right now, but I'm trying to like stack things up so I can kind of show you something. Okay, so this gives vulnerable, right? So, I should typically get 172 counter. But instead I got 284 because of the vulnerable. And if it crit, I would have got, or I actually got 258 because he had some kind of damage reduction. But if it would have crit, I would have got like 560 or something like that. He's not attacking, so I'm going to stay in my surge stance. Typically, I would have already like used Karen's Overexalt, but I'm trying to wombo combo here, just to kind of show it off. With Karen, you don't want to usually hold hers. You kind of want to spam it, because she can like open up so much stuff on your turns and whatnot. I really shouldn't have done that because like Karen's already full alien this, but yeah, like being able to reduce 24 damage every turn or 72 damage if you have enough strikes with his Overexalt is so massive. I've seen a lot of Goliaths in like the support channel that don't use it, but I think it just makes him so much useful. Because like the thing is, Decapitating Blade is only good really if you're one-shotting people, or if like you're later and you have a ton of strength stacked up. So you really don't use that too much, because 3 Arithmetica for just like a one-time damaging thing is not that good. So you're really just using Goliath, and usually I'll get rid of his defense too, because 27 defense is not great. So we're going to steal his strength. That's 30 damage off right there, which is really nice. Which is super good as well, because if they have strength and they're doing a multi-hit, that's adding to like all those hits. So we'll spam our defenses that we can here, because I'm only taking 30 damage here, so I'm probably not going to go defensive stance, because like it's only 30 damage, and then it would like reduce like 300 of my damage. So just keep in mind the math as much as you can. You have to make kind of decisions based on like what you have. So again, we're going vulnerable. I probably shouldn't have done that. With Karen ult, if I would have Karen ulted this turn, which I'm not going to do because I'm holding everything, I could have still used Shattered Halberd and Protective Scales, but because I didn't have that, I shouldn't have struck there. I should have Shattered Halberd and Protective Scales, but I messed up. There's a lot of little things you can do in this game that kind of make a big impact. I did want the extra Retaliate, but Protective Scales would have made it where I didn't take any damage this turn. Pretty close to it, anyways. Well, no, he's attacking multiple times. I would have took damage regardless. One thing with Sangha as well, because she has Death of Miss Coral, she gets like shield based off how many tentacles you have, which is pretty good. Pretty solid. Death of Miss Coral is like a really good will for like defensive Aequor people. Okay, so we have our 5 tentacles now. I'm gonna strike with Goliath because we're trying to get his last thing. Last of his Alimus. This guy's gonna get super overkilled, but I want to show the whole wombo and how we do it and why we do it this way. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to use Goliath ult. I never use this one. Ever. Never, ever. I don't know if there's a reason to use it, but I don't think so, ever. I feel like that takes way too long to stack, the 25%, and this is so much better. The reason why you start with this is that you gain temporary power equal to 60% of your tentacle damage. So we're going to do that first. We're at 5 tentacle slaps. So I don't have a lot of realm mastery because I don't have my covenants, but now we're at 7. We gained 2 tentacle slaps. Then we are going to use... See, with this team... Okay, what we're going to use is Cassius's, because Cassius gives vulnerable. But something that's unique... honestly, if I had a different way to get vulnerable, like Karen's Strike that I have, it'd be better to use that first. Because something about Cassius's Overexalt that's important is that based off how much damage the tentacles do, you get counter. That's why you use Goliath's Overexalt first, because your tentacles will do more damage because of the temporary strength you get. So I'll get more retaliation from Cassius as well. So you always want to do Goliath first, then Cassius. Get that vulnerable, get the extra crit retaliate, which I think I got like 700 there. And now that they're vulnerable, you can do this. Your Greatsword Strikes, which do massive damage after the vulnerable and after that. And now we have 9 tentacle slaps. I think Sanga's ult might kill, but we'll do it anyways. Okay, didn't kill. Okay, so this is when you use the Decapitating Blade, but normally you wouldn't use it because it'll give me my Arithmetica back. But see, the temporary strength you get from that is so crazy good for Aequor. It makes your tentacles do more damage. It makes Casey's Overexalt do more damage. That's the main combo right there. Casey's Overexalt, Goliath Overexalt. If you don't have your Overexalts yet, it's still good to kind of combo them because Cassius is vulnerable. You don't get to retaliate if you're not using Overexalt with Cassius. So you do get like a base retaliate, but you don't get to retaliate from the tentacle slaps because there are no tentacle slaps. But you do get like a base retaliate. When you don't have Cassius Overexalt, you're spamming that. You spam his exalt all the time because it gives you flat crit counter, gives you flat tentacle damage. You want the vulnerable still for Goliath Assault, but you'll be spamming this. If you don't have Goliath Overexalt, you're still going to use the same sword thing, but you might not use all your smacks in one turn. This is why Karen helps when you're free to play as well. Because, like, say I didn't have the Overexalt and these would all cost 2. Karen gives you 3 Arithmetica. And if you don't have her Overexalt yet, you still get this 3. Karen's Overexalt's not as important because, and then I could easily use Goliath all of his sword attacks, even if I didn't have his Overexalt, which is super good. You vulnerable, you do that, you're doing like at least like 10k damage, probably. Because these usually crit as well. Because you want to stack crit on Goliath. Yeah, Karen's Overexalt, even though it does put more of those in your deck, so I can get... That means you have to draw them as well, though. And sometimes against a boss, having, like, 0 cost cards that you use multiple times can actually hurt you. Not all the time, but sometimes. But then, like, also... If I wanted to draw a certain card, this is in the way now. But sometimes, if you have stacks of Karens, you get this wonderful positive effect, which means you could have a 50% chance to get vulnerable, weaken, draw a card... Which is kind of, if you get the draw card, that's like the best one. But you don't always get that. Usually, once I got enough stacks of Karen, like copies of Karen, to get the ability that gave the wonderful positive effect, usually I spam use these if I have a card to use. Because I always want to see if I'm going to draw a card or get an effect. Instead of just holding it. Usually I don't hold. This is really good. I'm gonna be honest with you. This one is crazy. It's like the best course relic. One stagger sucks, but having 2 Arithmetica every turn is crazy. And most of the time you can end the fight before you get all the way through your deck. So, especially if it's a weaker fight. Yeah, we're gonna take that. I used to not take this because I was worried about the stagger. But this is bad for Chaos, because Chaos usually shuffle their deck a lot because they have a lot of draw cards. With Aequor, it's not the same thing. You want this. So, even though I'm taking Cassius' thing here, Cassius is second priority. You usually, before the boss fight, want to get Goliath. Because Goliath stacks constantly. And power, this is permanent power as well. Permanent power, permanent tentacle to be something you stack. Sometimes you'll have a boss that's like, remove power and you get rid of a card that does really annoying stuff. Sometimes I'll keep that card just because I don't want to lose my power. Like, I'll stack up power early on in the boss fight. So when I get later in the boss fight, I can like one-shot them in their more annoying phases. And I'll keep things that kind of detriment me so I don't lose my power. A good example is the Chapter 9 boss. He does something like that. He puts a card in your deck that, like, it lowers your, like, total health if you don't use the card. But if you use the card, it lowers your power and your retaliate. Nah. Nah, fam. You always want to use your rouses. Because, one, it helps you stack up your ailments in between fights. And it's just so good. Because it gives you healing. I'm not going to use Shattered Halberd here because I want to get my tentacles. At the start of the game, with Aequor, you're probably going to be using Retaliate as your main damage. Towards the end of the game, your tentacles will probably be your main damage, honestly. How much damage? So I'm only taking 40 damage, so I'll probably just leave it. I could actually mercy. I could take no damage. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, now that we went over the combo, now I'm gonna play a little bit more like I would typically. Try to remember that combo though, because even on my premium team, that's what I do with Cassius and Goliath. That is the play. Something to remember about this is that when you use it, it lowers your alien miss. So if I'm going to use an Exalt this turn, I usually use it before I use this. So I'm going to do this so I can get the free tentacle slaps. Alien miss recharge, which you'll get from like Wheels and your Covenant. The more alien miss recharge you have, when you Exalt, the more alien miss you get back. Like, you see how I just used my Exalt, but she already has these bars filled? That's because of alien miss recharge. So if you want to spam somebody's alt, alien miss recharge is really important. Especially before you get Miriam. So like I said, I'm going to spam this, because I want to see what I'm going to get. If you don't have enough cards to use all your Arithmetica, you might not want to spam that, but I do, typically. And usually you'll have enough cards. Oh, I already have this, so yeah, it's super good to spam it. Well, now that I have this, I'm just going to... I didn't even see it. I'm going to spam this so I can... Okay, now I'm going to go defensive stance. I'm going to pop Sound. I'm going to say, I could have waited for the Overexalt, but I don't even think I had her Overexalt when I was like going through this free-to-play. So... her Overexalt's okay. I thought it was going to like permanently stack with itself, but it doesn't. It gives you like a bonus of like damage on some of your things. Like your strike and what is Lost Art? I don't even... oh, her alt. So it gives you that buff, but it's only one time. You can't just like stack it over and over again if you keep using it. I thought you could, but you can't. So, or that, not that I know of. So he's going to hit me. This is a lot of damage. It would be a lot more if it was like actually at my level. So I'm gonna, even though that was a 3 cost, I'm gonna use that to lower their damage by 1%. I'm gonna use Karen's defense because she's gonna get more alien miss. Also, one thing is as well is like as you get more investigator level, you get more life. So that's kind of like per point of constitution. So even if you have this team like scaled as much, if your investigator level is not as high, you won't have as much health. So investigator level is like really nice for Aequor because it powers up your tentacles. One reason why I went defense there is because they already weakened me anyway. So if I would have stayed in surge stance, I wouldn't have done that much damage, and I just really didn't want to take damage. I really like not taking damage. This is annoying. This is an effect that those birds do. If you don't use the distortion cards, they'll stay distorted until like I think like the end of the stage. If you don't use them that run, so I usually try to use it. If you use it, like, they won't be distorted anymore, but I think if you end the match with them distorted, it stays that way. I'm not sure about that, though. I could be wrong. The reason why his defense game... this is something that's not free-to-play. I used to use, when I was free-to-play, the his specific wheel, which was, like, the scaly fin or whatever, the fin thing. This is actually a premium item. It gives you more defense, or it heals you if you strike or defend. We're not going to go over that now because, like, that's going to be on the premium team thing. The only reason I have it is because I don't have his wheel anymore, because I actually transferred it to another wheel to, like, max it, so... And something I was trying to do early on in my play was I was trying to build Retaliate and then have like a super defensive team. Like I tried Sangha and Alva to have like super defense. But you'll realize as you get further in the game, people that give you flat defense will get outscaled by enemies. So that doesn't really work. So you kind of have to have, like... That's why you kind of transition to, like, a tentacle strength-based build as you go on with Aequor, because, like... enemies will start outscaling you, so you need to start scaling as well so you can kill them faster instead of making the match go on too long. And that's another reason why Murphy's so good, because she does percent damage reduction, while Songa, Alva, they do flat, which gets outscaled later. But you'll see, like, what we have, like 11 tentacle slaps when we exalted with these people. All 4 of them. You'll see how many tentacle slaps we get when we get to my premium team. It's kind of crazy. And that's the point. I'll go over covenants and like what stats I prioritize and whatnot. This is pretty much it about the free-to-play team, though, I feel like. Yeah, like I said, if I didn't have Overexalt, I'd be using this like anytime it came up. Unless I knew Glyassault was about to come up, and then I'd hold it just so I could get the vulnerable. And if the match was about to end, I'd probably hold it as well, because then I just kind of wasted my thing I didn't need. Let's see. I usually like to take the Alimus, whatever those things are called. This thing's kind of nice. It's not like the best thing in the game, but... So usually I won't do this, because usually you can get enough healing stations to get the rouse for free. But if I don't get it for free, this is when I would take it for Goliath. Goliath, you always want to have his rouse before the final boss, in my opinion, if you can help it. This would be nice, typically, but I'm not taking any damage from these things because my team's too strong. One thing that is really good on this team is, like, one that I would definitely keep an eye out as a relic, is the Dollhouse. I don't know if it works. I know in the new chapter it doesn't work the same, but in this chapter, like in the normal mode, for like the starting story, it gives you power every time you heal, which means when you use a Karen card, when you use a Cassius card after you've roused, you get power continuously, which is crazy. It's quite nuts. I wish I could find it, but I probably won't get it. I always sell Goliath's defense first. I probably shouldn't because I have this on it, but I'm going to do it anyways. And Karen's. I'll sell Karen's. Well, actually, sometimes I won't sell Karen's because Karen's actually gives the 9 Alimus plus the 5 and the heals when she rouses, so that's kind of nice to have, honestly. So I probably won't get rid of Karen's. I should use Mod Makers right after using this. I forgot my trick already. So this is where Songa kind of shines because, like, this is a big nuke for, like, a start of a fight kind of thing. Like, these enemies are kind of annoying. If I had Vulnerable, it'd be even better. Let me see if I can get... Okay, so... Normally I'd try to hold these for later fights if I can't. If I had Overexalt. If you don't have Overexalt, it's not as big a deal. Like, if you haven't got enough stacks of copies for Overexalt yet. But, yeah, usually I try to hold it for boss fights. But these enemies are annoying. So I'd like to kill them as soon as possible. Another thing is, when you're doing the Overexalt combo with Goliath and Cassius, do not go to Calm Sea stance. Unless you're going to die. Because your regular tentacles do more damage, and I think that affects Cassius's Overexalt for how much Retaliate you get from the tentacle slaps. Also, like, when you do your big wombo combo anyways, you want to stay in your damaging stance, because you're reducing, like, all your tentacle smacks and everything by a hellacious amount. And that's like the main reason to stack all your like all your exalts at the same time in the first place. And this is the other reason why getting your rouses is so nice, because like I'm already back to like almost maxing Casey's exalt again, just because we have the rouses, which we can spam like pretty much every fight you get to use it once. So also, if you can get the defense naturally from like protective and you don't have like anything that's like super imperative to use, it's usually better to do that than go defense stance, because your tentacles do more damage than like most of your regular cards. So because they base off strength, and Goliath gives you strength constantly because of the jellyfish. Like every turn I get more strength because jellyfish. I love jellyfish, bro. Jellyfish is like my favorite wheel. It's not the best wheel, but it's my favorite wheel. I'd rather use that than Goliath's. I didn't even try to get Goliath's wheel. I think it's good for Goliath, but Goliath is not... Nowadays, he's a lot more important than he used to be, but when I was on free-to-play mode, he wasn't the big deal. He was mainly just reducing people's strength and giving power at the same time. That was like his sole purpose on the team. And the stats. The stats are huge. So I can go defense here just because they're doing a lot of damage over there, and I'd just rather not take it all. Plus, I'm scaling up my Alienus again, like I'm stacking it up. And you'll be surprised how much, like, using the Calm Sea stance, even if it's not going to fully block damage, will keep you alive later in fights. And sometimes staying alive is, like, just the best thing you can do, because you're trying to get all your exalts back up and everything. So it's not always, like, when you're going through normal with these guys, it's not always about bursting them as fast as possible. Sometimes it's about just surviving and getting your things stacked up. And what's crazy is like, each of these got 49, and Might Makes Right takes it from both of them, so I just got like 98 strength. Oh, goodness gracious. My throat's getting tired by talking. You know what's crazy is I usually talk a lot when I do videos, but when I'm like explaining something, I talk really fast because I'm trying to get through all the information. So like my throat gets dry and everything. It's not that I'm talking more, it's just that I'm talking faster. Something that's really important about these chapters is really like understanding these principal like reasons as well. So the reason why we put wisdom on her is because Beauty is Mercy gives you tentacles. Let's see how many tentacle slaps we get from this. Actually, before we do that, let me continue explaining. It costs 4 energy, right? I think it's like 5 with Principle of Wisdom. What it does is like you draw cards. Oh, did they change it? Oh no, that's how it works. Okay, so you draw 3 cards, and then based on how much that this card costs, it reduces arithmetica. So like, let's say I had Tulu and he had his like forecast thing. If I use this, it would cost 0, which is crazy. So yeah, I got 5 tentacle smacks because I'm full, and she would have got 1 more tentacle. But that's where tentacle limit comes super important, which is why Miriam is so broken. I don't know if she's broken, but that's why Miriam is like the best premium person you could probably get for like a full Aequor team anyways. I haven't really experimented with like hybrid Aequor teams too much outside of Chaos with like Karen. Oh, when you get Cassius stacks as well, something that's super nice is like at the end of every turn, based on his constitution, you get a free heal, which works with that doll thing as well. Oh, see, I just got 16 health. That's actually really clutch. But like you'll notice, for instance, tentacle smacks do more damage to like any card I can really use that's like a regular card. Strike, anything like that. That's one thing that's really important about Morimens is like playing to your faction's mechanic. In the Aequor sense, it's tentacles. Karos, it's freaking embryos and spamming your alt. Ultra, it's that ultra phase, which ultra is like the least understood thing for me, anyways. And then chaos is kind of like silver key, posse, rerolling your deck stuff. Also, they do special bonus effects on like every faction. I'll go over that a little bit too after this one. But yeah, see, we're stacking all of our stuff for the final boss fight because we want to slap the hell out of them as fast as possible. Again, I'm not taking symptoms because I don't really have a cursed relic that plays with those. I actually really hate Echo because it takes the card out of the game, like once you use it. So one cool thing is with Sanga's, one, you get +1 tentacle limit, which is always nice because then I can have 6 tentacles. And when she shields, any shield she gives herself gives tentacle damage, which is nice, but it's not that good. That's why it's last. It's okay. Oh, yeah, let's skip this guy because what he's going to do... Actually, there's a little... I should have done... So, something to keep in mind when you get to this is if I would have went here instead of here, before it teleports you, it lets you get what's on the tile. So I could have went to this shop without having to kill this guy. The thing is, if you kill this guy, you have choices, and they all kind of suck. One of them is it steals your alienness, which we're not doing because we have the final boss right here, so... So we don't have Cassius's overexalt or Goliath, so we're going to try to get that before we do anything. Also, we need to stack our tentacles as well, since we're using like I'm gonna go ahead and use this on Goliath's thing. I should have used it at the start, because one, it'll give Goliath his overexalt, and then I can start stacking the power and the tentacle damage as well with him. I almost always, when it gives me that option, take whatever my Wisdom of Reason is on. So now I'll get 5 strength for using his strike. And then when I ult and use his decapitating, or the blade thing, each one will give me 5 strength. I'm not going to use this yet, even though it's going to go away, because the main reason is, 1, she's full on AOMS, and 2, I don't need that much defense right now. Oh, we almost got his full thing. Oh, we do. One thing... Okay, this is important right here. So, I'm going to get his overexalt, right? If you can, you want to have Shattered Halberd when you do this wombo. If you can help it. If not, it's not that big a deal, but it's nice. We're going to go ahead and do this for the vulnerable. And watch how hard... We're probably going to knock this man out the first turn. It would be nice to have all the tentacles, because it multiplies by tentacles, but I think we're 1 short. It's fine. It's fine. We have that temporary one in the place, but I think it's actually in the spot of 1 more tentacle we could... Oh, no, we don't have Sanga's Rouse, so never mind. We do have full tentacles. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to use Cassius's. Alright, before we use Shattered Halberd, we're going to use all 3 of these because they're going to give us power. So we're at 110. Now we're at 125. Now we're going to use Karen's ult. Hopefully we'll get a crit here. Some people's crits go up as you overexalt, and look how many tentacle smacks we got. We got 14. It's crazy. So now we're going Shattered Halberd. Please crit. So we're at 802. I didn't crit. Now we're at 1308, which is huge. And you see how he went from doing like 80 damage 3 times to 9 damage 3 times? That's because of Goliath's wheel he's using, which is crazy, dude. And now he's going to take 3,900 damage from Retaliate. I like to use that on Karens. I like to get my rouses out, definitely on boss fights, so we're going to get... Oh no, I needed to use... Crap. I needed to use it on Beauteous Mercy to illustrate my point, because Beauteous Mercy, it'll give it to me with 0 cost, which gives me the 3 draws, and it would have given me more shield, which makes Sanga's ult do more damage. Oh, I still have it. Sick. Okay, sick. And I'm going to get Tentacle Smacks, too, because I'm at full tentacles. So now he's invuln, so I overkilled him, but I just wanted to show how much damage. This is going to do... This would do 260 times 16 plus the vulnerable damage from Cassius's ult. It would do, like, probably about 10k damage with crits, honestly. Because we have 16 tentacles, all of them can crit. We haven't probably increased crit because of... some people get more crit when they exalt. I don't know exactly how that works, but I know they do. And look, Karen's already got, because of her Alien Mist recharge, everybody that's exalting... Oh no, that's not from Alien Mist recharge. That's from... What is that from? I don't know. I don't know why she's got that, but she does. It might be because of Alien Mist recharge and because everybody exalted, but I don't think that's it. But you see how I drew 3 cards there? That's the wonderful effect that I'm getting. It could, like I said, it could be weakness, it could be vulnerable. I really like getting the Tentacle Smacker reason, even though it's not the best. It's okay. He's not hitting me, so I'm not going to use Toadstool here. I'm not going to use her ult to use Toadstool. Damage stays as well. Strength stays, tentacle damage stays. So you see how hard my tentacles are already hitting, like early on in the fight? It's crazy. It's crazy, baby. The poison's just like an extra thing. It's not a big deal, really. With Garen, it's not a big deal at all. I'm gonna steal his strength. And that's what I'm saying, like, Goliath being a weird kind of, like, damage reducer. He still strengths from people. He still strength from people. Like, both ways. Like, with the strikes and with his... This doesn't count as a strike, so it won't reduce his damage. Reduces damage. I'm gonna use this, even though Karen... It's not gonna take Karen where she can't overexalt, so I can get it. I'm gonna use this. But... I cannot get a crit with Cassius because I don't have... See, if I had his Covenant on, he'd be critting, bro. I'm telling you, he'd be critting. I usually don't try to, like, full stack. If I had Miriam on this team, but when I was free to play, I usually don't try to overexalt twice in, like, a fight. As free to play, I try to get the overexalt before the boss fight and use it during the boss fight. But then I won't just hold it exalts until I get it again with this team. If I had Miriam, it'd be different. With this team, I'm just going to spam their over... Except for Goliath. You don't use Goliath unless you can get the overexalt, usually. Unless you have to use it. Because the problem is, or if you have Karen. Because, like, if you have Karen and her Exalt, and then you can get enough Arithmetica to use alt X. But the problem is with Goliath and, like, using his Exalt and then keeping the things for the ready. Because what they do have ready, which means they'll cost less Arithmetica as the turns go on. But what you'll lose is Goliath's temporary power. And you want to use those swords while you have the temporary power, because they get a huge boost based off how much strength you have. So you really want to use his swords the same turn you use his Exalt, because that Exalt gain, based on your tentacle damage, is temporary. And that's the same reason why you want to use Cassius's Over Exalt at the same time as Goliath's Exalt, because that temporary power gain, and it gets bigger and bigger too, because as you get more tentacle damage, you get more strength gain temporarily. So this time I'm not going to use Unrestrained because I don't have my mix right. I was kind of hoping I'd draw it with my temporary effect, but I didn't, so. I usually try to end his turn when he has either Weaken, Chaotic Bite, or the Heal, typically. I definitely do not try to end it on that one, if I can help it. So here I'll probably go defensive stance because I won't pop him. Actually, I would pop him. Because Retaliate will pop him. He's going to take 3,000 damage. 3,600 damage from Retaliate, so... yeah, he's going to get popped. And we have 500 poison as well. Just from Karen existing. But yeah, let me illustrate something real quick. If I don't kill him. Oh, he's gonna kill himself. Dang it. I wanted to show you the damage difference if I overexalted with Goliath, but he's gonna die this turn. Whatever. Oh wait, he's got another form. Okay, sick. Perfect. Something to keep in account with this boss is that Gnarly Bite always comes out while he's invuln, so you can't do anything about it. You just have to prepare for that damage. Okay, okay, I was gonna say, don't kill him, bro. Also, that temporary strength gain he gets, I'm pretty sure it's based on what stance you're in as well, because tentacle damage. So if I was in Calm Sea stance, I think I would get less temporary power. Okay. So this, and you see you get temporary crit as well. That's what I was talking about with the crit and exalts. So usually Cassius's Shattered Halberd will crit if you do this combo with Shattered Halberd in your hand. If you have your Covenant. Because Covenant, you're going to put crit on Cassius as well. Goliath, Cassius, you put crit on. Depending. We'll talk about that once we get to the Covenants. See how this would do 11,000 damage this turn? 1,100 damage this turn. Not counting crit. Now it's all the way down to 568. So that's like half. Because you didn't use it on the same turn, you use your Exalt. That's how much temporary strength you get from Goliath, which is why it's so nuts. But now I can spam them all for no cost, but at the same time I'm doing way less damage. I should have used them first because they give me strength. But. Honestly, I would have killed this guy a lot easier, but I wanted to prove that point with like the Goliath ult thing. So in this case, because I only have Songa's ult, I'm going to go defensive stance. Even though I do like 2k damage, that's crazy. Because her ult does more damage with the more defense you have. Full per shield. So. It added like 800 damage. Allegedly. And then her ult also hits the boss twice. Because that's what it does on boss fights. He'll die this turn, I believe. Yeah, he's definitely dead. But yeah, see, the tentacle damage is just getting more and more. I'm getting more power, I'm getting more tentacle damage, and I think, you know where it says, like, +5 tentacle damage, +5 power? I think those both happen. So I'm getting +5 power, which gives me tentacle damage, and I'm getting +5 tentacle damage from Goliath's Rouse every time I do damage with him. So, keep that in mind. Like, if something says it gives tentacle damage and strength, you're also getting tentacle damage from the strength as well, I believe. So, those are, like, doubled up. It's crazy. Okay, so that's free-to-play team. I might have missed something. I don't think so, though. I think I went pretty in-depth there with the free-to-play team. Okay. Okay, so let's look at what the Chaos People do real quick as well on Aequor. Chaos People. That should tell me something. Where are you? Deep Sea. After a Chaos Waker releases Exalt at the end of the turn, additionally drive 1 tentacle to attack all enemy, and all Deep Sea Awakers gain 10 alieness. So it gives you more alieness and 1 tentacle. That's not that good, because when you have an Aequor person, you get for each... Well, I guess that both work, actually. I don't think you need multiple for this mastery to work any better, honestly, so I guess it wouldn't matter. This would actually be nice, because it gives you the alieness. But for each point of Realm Mastery, when an Awaker uses Alienless Exalt, there is a 0.25% chance to gain an additional layer of Tentacle, and that's based off your Realm Mastery points. Let's look at my, oh yeah, let's look at this real quick first. Because Sanga's free to play, so we kind of want to talk about this. So Sangha has this, which means that with Death Resist, it gives her more alieness per death resist, and also gives crit rate and crit damage on her ult. Her loss for art is her exalt, so something to keep in mind. It's kind of nice because, like, Death and Miss Coral is just an awesome freaking wheel anyways. Because it gives defense based off how many tentacles you have, and it gives you a ton of death resist, and death resist is sometimes really nice. And I got this as well, just for extra defense. Back when I was trying to survive, I was struggling to survive. Is there anything else we need to talk about? The reason we got this on is because Realm Mastery, and it gives Exalt. When she exalts, everybody gets alienless, so it's just getting everybody to their ult faster. This is really nice as well. Something to keep in mind is, if you ult with Karen, and let's say you've already ulted once, and it was an overexalt, and you get the thing that gives you Marvelous Cuisine. If you use Marvelous Cuisine, get your Arithmetica more. Like, whatever your Arithmetica is at the time, the more you heal from your ult. You'll get to base heal from Karen, which is like 70-ish, I guess. I don't remember. And then you'll get 3%... wait a second. Restores health. This is a whole additional heal. So you get 14% of the wearer's constitution plus additional health equal to 3% of the wearer's constitution, which is Karen, for each remaining Arithmetica. So if I have plus than 14%, I'm getting like 38% of my constitution. That's like 38% of my... That's still a lot. Actually, what's 38%? Her constitution not super high, because healers have low stats. So 38% of 121, I guess is another 30 heal on top of your like 70 heal that she already has. And the more Arithmetica, the more it's going to do. We have that candle, which helps a lot with that. 30 is a pretty big amount of health early on in the game, honestly. It's not as much later in the game, but it's a lot later. Alright, let's go to the premium team, which I need to remember the timestamps at 110. This is when we talk about premium people. Alright, this is going to be a lot. So, I did get Miriam and Murphy free to play, like, from their events, but then I did roll extra ones with, I can't even tell you, like, with the 30 bucks that I pretty much got to use. You get a lot of resources, like silver, blase blah, so I can't tell you how much of this. I actually used it mostly on wheels. So I think these copies you can pretty much get pretty easily just by playing the game and saving your resources for events. If there's a champion, get my Overexalt with Miriam right now. If I have sedimentation. Oh, finally, dude. So this gives you a stack of somebody. I finally got Miriam's Overexalt, which I think I haven't got to use it yet, but my sister tested it on somebody else's Miriam's on her friends list. Crazy. It's crazy, bro. Okay, let's talk about her Exalt and her Overexalt. No, that's not it. Where do you do this? There we go. Maybe not. I gotta go to... Oh, how do I do this? Enlighten. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, I gotta go. So with this item, if you have the champion, you can get a copy of them. If you don't have a champion and they're premium, it will not give you a copy of them. So you might want to save these until you get a premium champion that you want to get copies of. Because you'll see Miriam here, right? But there's a lot of premium champions you don't see in here because I don't have them yet. So you want to save those for your premium champions because they're the hardest to get. They take certain cubes, and they're only during their events that you can get them. So keep that in mind. Save those if you can. I did not when I was playing through because I wanted to get my Cassius and Goliath maxed. Which, if you're like me and you just want to get through the story and stuff, when you were playing through, like, free-to-play on normal, it might be worth not saving them just to get your people where you want them. But later on, or if you're, like, pay to win, save them. And again, I'm not a whale. I spent $50 and I only used, like, $30 of it, so... I'm like a guppy. I'm a guppy in the pay-to-win environment. But I have played a long time, so like I played since this released on Steam, which was a while ago. Okay. So listen to this. So she gets 2 copies of Sacred Rite. I don't really care about that too much. She gets a Tentacle and Tentacle Limit. Tentacle Limit is so important. You saw how with Sangha, I'd be full on tentacles. Every time Miriam overexalts, she gets Tentacle and Tentacle. And the thing about Miriam as well is her brows, you get to use it 3 times. Each one gives you Tentacle Limit and a Tentacle. So that's 3 tentacles. That she gets one of her cards is called the Chosen One. I usually spam Miriam's cards more than anything. Because the Chosen One gives you like 50 alias without the Sacred Rite. Sacred Rite is when she exalts, she gets like a bonus card that increases the effects of certain cards. You can all use it once per turn. We'll talk about it once we get into the game. But you saw how Realm Mastery, right? It increases how many tentacles you get when you exalt. She can permanently stack Realm Mastery. Like if you're in a long fight and you use the Chosen One multiple times, or like if you have that polar thing like I did in that last fight on Chapter 9, where I could pull a card every turn, you get 20 Realm Mastery. Which is going to increase my tentacle slaps. Miriam, the way I played Miriam, she is a battery. She's a battery for the whole team. I do not use her for damage at all. I don't use her for a poison. I use her for her alias gain. Because her ult gives other Awakers, when you're in defensive stance, 15. All of them. That's 45 alias. And also, like, if I have everybody's ult and I'm doing, like, the Overexalt Wombo combo, I'll actually use Goliath's ult first, then Miriam's ult, because it gives power and tentacle damage as well. Actually, I'll probably use Miriam's ult first, then Goliath's ult, and then Cassius's ult. Because she'll give power and tentacle damage, which will increase my tentacle damage. Goliath's ult will give me power based on how much tentacle damage I have. And then Cassius's ult will give me retaliate based on how much damage his tentacles do. And this is where Alien Mist Recharge and your Covenants come in super important. This is why we're talking about this now with the premium team and not with the regular team, because I didn't want to set this up again. Look at my stats with this team. 258 Realm Mastery off the bat. The reason I have that is because this gives Realm Mastery, that's 36, 72. I don't know if these give Realm Mastery or not. No. I know I want crit on Goliath, but this card's just so good. I always take this for that for the reason I already showed you. And this is how I use Miriam as a battery. I just got this to max. If you get your SSR wheel to 12, you can have 2 SSR wheels on champion. At first, I was only using this on her and like another Realm Mastery or another Alien Mist Recharge thing. Because Alien Mist Recharge is important on Miriam. Because you want to exalt as much as possible because she's giving everybody else Alien Mist. So that's kind of how she works as a battery. So you want to get as much... and with this, you start with 40 every battle. You get 40 flat out. And then... if she... each time another Aequor... and if anybody else exalts, she gets 6 more. That's not that big a deal. And this gives tentacle damage, which makes Goliath ult better. And everybody better. This, which I just got on her, gives Alien Mist Recharge as well. And then anything that I use that gives Alien Mist Recharge gives 15% more. I don't know if that works with their chosen one, but it'd be really cool if it did. It might, actually. 50% doesn't seem a lot because Alien Mist numbers are kind of small. But you don't need as much Alien Mist either. So just like getting to your exalts is super important. Now that she has Overexalt, I kind of got to change the way I'm going to play her. Probably in normal fights, I'll probably still just use the Exalt so I can get everybody else's, like, Exalts up. But then in big fights, I'm going to try to, like, save for her Overexalt so I can get more tentacles. I have to experiment with it yet, because I just got her Overexalt. I'm not exactly sure. I'm super excited about it, though. Okay, now let's talk about the Covenants. So, when you're playing through the game, you can't do Covenants until you get a certain Investigator level, and then you can't enhance them until even later. You will get so many resources to upgrade your Covenants that when you get there, you should be able to get like everything pretty close to max. What I prioritize on Aequor is Realm Mastery. For Miriam, it's kind of like Alien Mist Recharge and Realm Mastery, but you'll see... you can re-roll these, and so we go to Strengthen, right? First, I try to get them to 12. You can get them to 12 easy. But then when you go to Transcription, you get certain stats, and then you can re-roll it. If I get, like, a good, pretty solid stat, I'll probably re-roll it. I usually do not... the more you lock, the more resources it takes to upgrade, right? I don't need crit rate. Since I have a bunch of these... I wouldn't recommend this unless you're like really late game and you have kind of what you want. Usually I'll lock 1 and then keep re-rolling, but if I get 2 attributes, I usually won't re-roll it anymore. Because it costs more. And you can get... I could get these better, but I'm kind of scared to lose them too, because you can lose them and then you gotta roll back into them. That's actually really good, because the resistance is so high. But see, if I was re-rolling 1, it wouldn't take near as many pins. But you will have a lot of those stacked up by the time you get later in the game. Free to play. Okay, see, I got another Realm Mastery. That's nice. But yeah, usually I prioritize Realm Mastery. Some of these will not have Realm Mastery as an option, or you won't get the Covenant. So, the reason why I have this Covenant, gain 35 Alien Mist at the start of expiration. That's nice. Alien Mist Recharge level. Alien Mist Recharge level, how it works is, like I said, when people exalt... oh, we can actually look at that right here. Or not right here. So this is where you can look what your Realm Mastery does for each faction. Each faction is different. For Aequor, it's super important. I don't know about the other faction, but... increases your shield. I think. Wait a second. For every 1 point, there's a 25% chance for an additional tentacle. When switching to Still Sea, the shield gain increases by 0.1, and I think that's affected by Realm Mastery as well. I'm not sure about that. I'm not positive. But, yeah, I think it's 1 point plus the max health. 0.01% for each Realm Mastery point. So, I believe. Where can we see our... Actually, let's go back in the Covenant. There's somewhere where it'll tell you what Alien Mist Recharge does. 1 sec. Details. There. Gain 25 Alien Mist for each Exalt. Extra bonus effects will gradually diminish as this attribute increases. So every Exalt, I'm going to get that much Alien Mist Recharge. Probably 37. So, gets her back to her ult faster. And her ult gives everybody else Alien Mist. This is on Cassius because, again, when he crits, his Shattered Halberd gives him however much damage you do. So more crit damage equals more retaliate. Pretty sure I focused on crit for the main stat. And then I started rolling like crit rate and Realm Mastery. His aren't like as keyed into Realm Mastery, but if I got a high Realm Mastery, like 3 and 3.5 is huge. Well, like, depending on what it is, like, I don't think I have a crit. See, there's no crit here, so I went for Realm Mastery, because that's, I think, the biggest stat. Death Resist, because I don't have Realm Mastery or crit. And then Realm Mastery again. And then with Goliath, I don't know if I ever switched to crit. I was doing Strong Attack at first, but I think I switched to crit, which is good. Crit damage. You gotta realize, Goliath gets like 100% crit pretty easily, so like, crit damage is something you might want instead of crit rate. But make sure you roll your Covenants. The stats you get from it is huge. If you don't have it yet, just look forward to it and you'll be saving stats by doing events and whatnot. Let's talk about Murphy's ult now. We've already kind of gone over Goliath and Cassius, and we just went over Miriam. We'll show you how it works in the game in a second. Murphy. So let me look at her talents, or her skills real quick, because or Enlightens. Hidden Rebellion is retained. See, you want at least 1 copy of Murphy, because you want to be able to retain your... It's called Eddy Reversal in the game, but in here it's called Backward Flow. You need that. For every 2 tentacles, deal an additional instance of damage. That's good. Make sure Eddy Reversal proc like multiple times for damage, so... Which gives Weaken and Vulnerable, so that's nice. And it's AoE as well. Basic attack gains tentacle damage while basic defense gets... So, like, as her tentacle damage gets up, or as she uses her strike and defense, you get tentacle damage, which is nice, because tentacle damage does so much. At the end of the turn, Murphy gains 5 Alien. After releasing the capacity, remove 2% max health. Sacrifice. So the big mechanic with Murphy is Sacrifice. When she ults, let's look at her skills. Alright. You'll take 50% less damage of something. If something's going to hit me for 1,000, I'll take 500 damage, which is a huge reduction. Because some things can hit up to like 2,000 damage later in the game. It's rare, but it happens. And then you receive half of that as sacrifice. So if I was going to take 1,000 damage, I'd take 250 sacrifice. Because it block 500 and I get half of that as sacrifice. And then, so the sacrifice doesn't take effect until the turn after you use your Exalt and you block that damage. Eddy Reversal, which is Backward Flow also, removes 50% of your sacrifice. If you have 1 copy of Murphy, that means it gets retained, which means you can keep it in your hand. You don't want to spam Eddy Reversal on big fights. You want to keep it for when you Exalt, because 250 sacrifice is a ton. And when you, like, you want to use this, because this gives sacrifice as well. You'll get sacrifice for 5% of your max health. I have like 1,000. Let's say I have 1,000, right? So that's like 50 damage. That's 50 sacrifice. Let's say I did the 250 from the Exalt, and I take 50 sacrifice from this. That's 300 sacrifice. That's a ton of damage that you're going to take the next turn. If you Eddy Reversal, the turn after you use your Exalt and Becoming Sacrifice, you're only going to take 150 damage, which is important. That's why you want to keep Eddy Reversal in your hand for when you're Exalting and when you're using Become Sacrifice. If you're not anywhere near your Exalt, and you're using Become Sacrifice, try to keep your Eddy Reversal for Become Sacrifice. Remember, use it the turn after you use Become Sacrifice or Exalt, because you don't get the Sacrifice until the next turn. Also, she improves your tentacles a lot, because like what she'll do is when you use her cards, like I use a strike, a defense, and Become Sacrifice, she'll get 3 temporary tentacles. Alright. This will probably be the end of the video, playing through this, but let's show you how it kind of works. I need... This isn't going to look as easy, but I'm going to take it on hard mode so we get like harder fights, and we can kind of do the same chapter and kind of show how it plays. Actually, do I want to do that one? No, let's do the same one. Or we could do it on normal and just show how powerful it is. Let's do that. Oh, sorry, throat is sore, baby. Throat is sore. I might, way in the future, try to do a video for Chaos, Caro, and Ultra. But one, I have to learn how to play them well. And 2, I have to get the resources to do it. And like I say, I don't spend money on this game outside that one time, so... Alright. So we're going to put Fertility of Wisdom on the Chosen One. So, I think this normally has Retain, but if you get copies of Miriam, it has Prepare, which makes it cost less. But we're not going to use that, because we have the Wisdom on it. Which means that if it's 3 Arithmetica, it's going to reduce everything it draws by 3. We're not going to use it on Fertility. I almost did that. Fertility we're going to use on Becoming Sacrifice. Because when you use Becoming Sacrifice and you have copies of Murphy, it gives Arithmetica every time you use it, and it costs 0. So you can get a ton of Arithmetica, ton of shield, but you got to be careful. If you don't have Eddy Reversal, you'll get a ton of Sacrifice as well and kill yourself. I've done it. I've done it. You have to realize some of these effects is because I have so many copies of them. Like the Tentacle Damage plus 14, I think that's from having copies. I'm not sure if the Arithmetica point is or not, honestly. Delight, we'll put it on something we don't use often. Glass Defense. I don't like the Delight one too much because it gives symptoms and stuff. Chosen One. But look at this, right? 58. 58 for anybody besides Miriam. That's crazy. And then if I have like I'll show you. I need to stop talking about it and just show it while I'm doing it. So first turn, Miriam's almost maxed. This is her thing. If you use it, I never hold these cards in my hand. Ever. Because it reduces your draw by 1. Never hold them in your hands if you can help it. Also, they give you 15 alienness, so watch this. Already have our ult on turn 1. We go defense. We use it. We got 2 tentacle slaps already. This is when it's in this form, it can either heal you when you use it, or it improves your effects. So you see how, like, this should be... It was 58 earlier, right? Now it's 73 because of this, right? So now I'm going to use this on Goliath. I try to get Goliath's ult first. So... Alright, now you see it's back into the form that reduces my draw. I'm going to use it. Alienness for free, baby. Crazy. So when I was first playing Miriam, I was holding them because I was like, oh, I want the upgraded effects. You don't want to reduce the card draw, ever. It's bad. Chosen One again. Chosen One again. And I'm going to retain this chosen one that I just got, and it's going to be 3 costs next turn. So, this is where it shows your realm mastery. See, I have 20 realm mastery from using the chosen one. Now I'm going to have 40. It's crazy. That's because of the polar thing. Because the polar thing, when you pull somebody's card, you get extra alimus. That's why that happened. So now we're going to go defense again. We're going to use this. Free technical damage. I could use Miriam's here so I can get the alimus back. I might actually do that. Yeah, I'm gonna use Miriam's here. Also, if you have to, instead of like upgrading your, because 13 alimus gain isn't like the thing about Miriam's. I'll show you. I keep talking. I can show you. I can show you. I'm not going to use their wombo this turn because these guys are too weak. I'm going to wait till we get to the elite. But, like, you could spam this, like, almost every fight because of the alienless gain. It's so nuts. So watch. Become sacrifice. This is where it gets... I'm going to hurt myself here, but watch. This is only for this chapter. Well, this chapter and the next one, I think. Or the one before. Oh, fudge! Oh, no! One bad thing about sacrifice, besides doing that, it does stay in between battles. So if, like, you don't get rid of your sacrifice by the battle, it will be in your next battle as well. I'm gonna take a butt ton of damage. That was a real bad mistake. One thing to keep in mind, though, is if you kill the enemies, you won't take the sacrifice damage that turn. It'll just all stay till the next battle. I'll show you next turn. We're going to use Glyasalt just to be safe. Because that was a mistake. Oh, I didn't take as much as I thought I would. But look how much arithmetic I got last turn and shield. But if I had Eddy Reversal here, instead of 243, it would be at like 120 something, which is huge. I'm going to keep the chosen one because I want to use protective scales because they're going to hit me pretty hard. I'm going to actually use Murphy's Ult here because, one, they're doing a lot of attacks. So if I can reduce their damage, that'll be good. Also, all tentacle slaps give you that defense if you're in this stance. If I was in the surge stance, I wouldn't get that defense. I'd just get the damage. But like, because I'm in defense stance, I get that. Also, if you don't want to do the math on how much damage you're going to take this turn, look up here. It doesn't keep up with everything, but it keeps up with most things, typically. So I need to kill them this turn for the sheer fact that I will take a ton of damage. I don't want to. Or... One thing you can do as well is force Murphy's Ult out because of Miriam being a battery. And I'm stacking up a lot of sacrifice, but I'm hoping I'll get... I'm hoping. Also, her defense is good. I don't go out of my way to use it, but it reduces power, so if people are doing like multi-attacks and stuff like that. I could also heal here. Oh, let's talk about her heal real quick. So if you don't want to use this as a buffer, It heals based on how much life you've lost. So the lower health you get, the more it's going to heal. So like if I'm at like 200 HP, it's going to heal for like 100, which is huge. Most healing things do not heal for like 100. Oh, I can't. Oh, man, I'm playing this. Well, I'm explaining things, so that's kind of why. But I'm trying to like. I'm taking a lot of damage here. Rude. But you remember at the start when I got like 2 tentacles when I used Miriam's ult? So we're at 92 times 5. Let's use Murphy's ult, see how much we get. So because of the Realm Mastery, I actually already got another tentacle because I have 80 Realm Mastery down here from using the Chosen One. You can't pump out the Chosen One as much on different chapters because this chapter, obviously, you can get a butt ton of them, but... The only reason this fight is going so long is because I'm explaining things and I'm not playing exactly how it's supposed to. And I'm not using my exalts because that's the main thing about this team with how it's built now. And he keeps taking my power away because he's a turd. Something you have to be conscious of, though, is like... There, it didn't look like I was going to take a lot of damage because I had 140 armor. He was going to do 28 times 7. It didn't look like I was going to take a lot. But I had like 150 sacrifice. So, like, I would have took a good bit of damage. Also, because I have that one thing, this heals me. That pay-to-win wheel that you get from the... You get it from the Battle Pass if you get through it. So, and that heals based off how much health you're missing as well, I believe. It's too bad you can't use the Chosen One on Miriam. Honestly, that'd be so cool. But yeah, usually I'd be using these almost like every fight. At least Cassius and Goliath if I needed it, or at least Goliath. Whatever I need to like kill the easy enemies, because I can get it back so easily. So I have 121 sacrifice. I use this. One it weakened, so it took 100 damage off him. And then I went down to 60 on this. And this reduces, like, it'll do 60 damage and it'll reduce by half until it gets rid of it all the way. So, that's kind of how that works. And that 50 extra shield you just saw there is because of that pay-to-win wheel as well. It boosts your strength and your defense. Makes your strike where it heals you and your defense where it gives you... Alright. I should have ended the turn. Well, everybody's pretty much full anyways, except for Miriam. Usually I try to put the reasons on the cards I'm going to spam the most that costs the least arithmetica. Because then you get the effects more often. So, in this order, rouses by importance, it goes Miriam, Cassius, Goliath, Murphy, in my opinion. You can swap that around, because they're all, like, all really good at reasons. It's not like with Sangha, where hers is, obviously the least. Okay, now we're going to show you, like, how much damage this does, and I want to see the Miriam over-exalt myself. Okie dokie. So we'll start with Miriam's. We're not going defense this time because obviously we want the tentacle damage. So this would give me like full Chosen One, which means I get like Chosen One when it's like max. I'll show you in a second actually. So 132 times 7. So we got 500 retaliate. Oh, I haven't been paying attention. And we're already at 12 tentacle smacks. And we haven't really even stacked up our realm mastery from the chosen one. So 14 times 14. And we only have... We're times 14 and we only have 3 tentacles. Like with Sangha, if we had like 5 tentacles and we exalted with everybody, that'd be like 12 or 14. If I had 5 tentacles, I'd have like 20. But I haven't used my rouses and whatnot, so... Actually, let's do that real quick. Put it down. I have a hard time putting down cards. So, the reason why her rouse is great, it's so good, dude. So it gives her 58 aliens. And you see how she's already like... Well, that's because of the stupid thing again. The polar thing. Gives a tentacle limit. And it gives her strike... That doesn't really matter. The crit on her strikes and whatnot. Her strikes do hurt though. So I think it only gave 1 tentacle because I didn't already have that tentacle out when I'm not sure actually. I'd have to test that to make sure, but... Alright, you see how it gives 133 aliens because I have all 3 of those things instead of 58. And then also I can use all 3 of these to get... And then I can overexalt with her again to get another tentacle. It's so crazy, dude. It's so crazy. I'm going to use this first for the strength. And like I said, the more strength you have in a turn, this multiplies it by 3. So that's a lot of damage added. And then also, it's going to reduce the damage by 72. Or 72 power, at least. The reason I'm not... Oh, yeah, I do need to use it because I don't want the draw problem. Usually I would have held it because, like, on a normal person. But because this reduces draw, I don't want to reduce my draw ever. And this has prepare and preserve as well, so this will be 3 cost next turn. And the second effect of this is so good. You'll see. And the thing is that I only did 21k damage on the first turn, but later in the game, it's going to be crazy. Like, because Aequor stacks so hard with strength and whatnot. And actually, let's use her ult first because we have freaking... This will give me Alimus, so let's use this. We had _6. Now we have ×9. Use this. Get another tentacle. Might not, I guess it's just adds smacks. It doesn't multiply by how many tentacles you have, even though the tentacles do add a time. Each one adds a time, but then you get Realm Mastery, just adds base instead of multiplying against the tentacles you have. This gives power and tentacle damage every turn after you use it, which is crazy. And if I want to heal, I can do that. If I had chosen one, I could use that again, but I don't, so... I'm gonna actually heal here, because I'm at... That's huge heals, dude. I just healed for like 200 damage. So typically, I mean, I could... I could Goliath here and probably kill because of the tentacle damage. Actually, let's do it. Let's see. Because typically I would hold Goliath's ult till he gets his overexalt again, but... So how much tentacle damage we have? We have... It's supposed to do a flat 2350, not counting crits, right now. So now it's 3,978, and then crits. And the crit is actually going up as well because there's more tentacle smacks, so there'll be more chances at crits. If this was a longer fight, and I probably... Oh, actually, I have Becoming Sacrifice. Watch this. And I have Eddie Reversal, so she's gonna die this turn, but if she didn't die this turn, she might not die because I don't have vulnerable on her. We'll see. Oh, I do have Eddie Reversal. So because she's going to die this turn, I have 96 sacrifice. I'm going to get rid of that. Typically, I would hold Eddie Reversal the next turn if she wasn't going to die here. So I could, because I haven't got the sacrifice from those becoming sacrifices yet. I will get it in the next fight, you'll see. I didn't crit there, that's crazy. Oh, she didn't hit. Okay, she ain't gonna die here. Crazy. So, I could have killed her if I used my posse as well, but... So this is the final rouse you get from her, which also gives a tentacle. Look, I have 8 tentacles max without any exalt, which is nuts. So this makes it where she can draw 1 of 3 cards every turn. One of them gives 2 arithmetic, which is so good. I have a lot of bleed and sacrifice. I should have killed... Well, she's going to die, so I'm not going to take the sacrifice. That's the difference between sacrifice and bleed as well. 1, healing gets rid of bleed. And 2, if I kill something, I don't take the sacrifice damage. I will take that bleed damage regardless. I'm going to heal here and use her battery to reduce the bleed. Because that's a lot of bleed. I'm still going to take a lot of bleed, but... Let's see, the bleed hit, but the sacrifice didn't. But I will have 193 sacrifice next fight. I don't like either. This one's actually good. I like this one, actually. So we're going to get rid of Goliath's defense. And we're going to get rid of Miriam's strike. So now we're going to play a little bit more normal like we would, typically. Because I kind of explained everything, kind of how it works, I believe. I love that I have our over exalt now. That's so crazy. Oh, that was 1 extra. Whoops. I always take this one, but because these enemies are about to die, I'm going to take this one just so I can kind of reduce the sacrifice I just gained. Hopefully I'll get a reversal next turn. I didn't really think about it. Nice. So see, I have 800 sacrifice. 400 sacrifice. So, I could heal here, but because he's going to do damage, I'm going to take a lot of damage from the sacrifice, and he's going to hit me harder. I'll heal more next turn. I'm at 57 right now with it. Let's see how much we heal once we take that sacrifice damage. Also, I kind of forced myself to take that sacrifice damage. I didn't have to do that, but it's okay. So now I heal 77, so that's worth keeping in mind. Also, and so I didn't lose card draw because it only loses card draw if you turn it into that purple state, so that's important to keep in mind as well. Reduce my Eddy reversal even more. Also, it vulnerables him, so my tentacles are going to do more damage. I could kill him here, but he might die anyways. But I'm basically trying to get my Alimus back now. Because he's not going to do damage to me. Yeah, he might die. I don't know. Coming close. Yeah, he did. The reason why Retaliate did that much damage is because I had Protective Scale on, which makes it proc an extra time for half damage. Like I said, I always try to put the reasons on cards that I'm going to spam, like defense, anything that's low cost. God, my nose is stuffed up, sorry. I've been talking so much. So I want to, if I can, I don't know if I can or not, but we definitely want to try to get all our overexalts before the boss fight. I get rid of this one. Like I said, Miriam, I don't really use her other cards. She's just battery. She is a battery. I don't know how this works. Why not? Because I don't have any 4-cost spells outside of, I don't have a way to get Overexalt, I don't believe. Unless I go through this door. But then I might have to take that agent out. We'll see, actually. We shall see. Depends where the teleporter takes me, I guess. Make sure you try to use your exalts before you rouse because of the 50 alienness. And also why it gives 50 alienness for me instead of like 25, which it normally does, is because I leveled up the skill, which that was covered in like the beginner video kind of thing. So see, I haven't even done anything for sacrifices. I still have sacrifice from last fight. If I really wanted to kill these things super fast, I would use Eddy Reversal, because Eddy Reversal hits 3 times because of the stacks of Murphy that I have. So it would pop their barrier and give them vulnerable, but I'm not really trying to kill them super fast because I'm trying to... Oh heck. Well, I'm going to use it because I can't use the rest of my great swords. It won't kill them, but it'll get them weaker. We're trying to get our Alimus back for the boss fight. So, we're not technically trying to kill them yet. The reason why we use Glycol, even though we're trying to get ailments for the boss fight, is because these enemies are really annoying. When you pop their barrier, they do that tail sting thing, so that's why that's happening. So when he tail stinks, he kills himself, so I didn't actually get as much ailments back as I would have liked. That wasn't perfect. It'd be like that. Well, you do get... I'll get more polar, but typically I want to have full ailments before the boss fight. I didn't exactly do it right this fight, but usually I will. It's kind of hard because there's not a lot of fights on this stage. I'm gonna see where this takes me. Hopefully it'll take me, not here. Yeah, it did. Okay. I was trying to avoid getting symptoms, but whatever. It's fine. I definitely didn't want to remove my alienness on the agent guy. And I think he gives 2 symptoms if you don't remove your alienness. I don't remember exactly. It would be nice to have Murphy's Rouse, but I'm not that worried about it either. Let's see if we can get the dollhouse. That'd be super nice. We didn't. This is a good one too, though. Definitely if you're doing that D-type thing. Okie dokie. Like I said, we have the strength gain now from the Rouse, so we're going to use his swords first. 1 second. Let me see what... Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we'll use that before we even use Murphy's ult. And we'll probably use Murphy's Strike as well, actually, so... for tentacle damage. So something to keep in mind, this person's reducing my damage by 30%. So, that's going to affect a lot of things, including his ult. Oh, we didn't vulnerable. Ah, crap. I forgot about that. It might have been worth using Casey's ult before doing Goliath Strikes. I didn't think about the vulnerable. I usually have another way to get vulnerable, like Eddy Reversal or something, but I didn't. Actually, I'll probably use Eddy Reversal here. No, I'll use it next turn. I don't want to take that damage. I will use this before using Shattered Halberd, though, for the vulnerable. And again, she reduced that by 30%, so that's pretty massive. It would have been around 50,000 damage. Not counting the retaliate gain that she reduced. This is gonna be bad. Oh well. Oh, I did that wrong. I should have used... Wait, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, I did that. I should have done that the opposite way. Oh, I did that so wrong. Ooh, that's not fine. That frail's gonna hurt. It's a really hard boss fight we picked. Oh my god, 1,000. What the crap? Oh. Huh. Gave me 1,000 bleed, bro. The hell? Might have to pop a death resist on this bad lady. So, I have a choice here. I could probably... Nah, I wouldn't survive. Either way. Oh well. God, that death resist or damage reduction's insane. How does she keep bleeding me like this, bro? I don't know the fight that well. It's been a while since I've even fought this chick. My goodness. Defensive stance or not defensive stance? I think we have to... I think we're going defensive stance. I think I popped my death resist on accident as well. I didn't mean to do that. Because I was going to heal and get rid of that bleed.
牲は避けられません。犠牲は避けられません。
聖女たる私の前にひざまずきなさい。
God, that frail is insane, dude. Oh, I hate you, lady.
僕を舐めるな。バカ。
I'm not even going to use it because I'm frail to death.
犠牲は避けられません。
世界を我が物にするペリシテ人の力、思い知れ。
So something to keep in mind as well is Realm Mastery makes it more likely to get the death or the tentacle, but you don't always get it because it's a chance. This chick is pissing me off. 42 freaking death resist or resistance. So this is the draw card for Miriam. He might kill me. I'm not very happy about this. Hmm. Well, this is a pretty good showcase of like how strong this is, though, because this boss is crazy. This boss is crazy, dude. Okay. I do have a lot of sacrifice I need to mitigate, because she'll probably pop me if I don't. It's so crazy. Should have probably stayed in. Well, if she's got so much damage reduction, it wouldn't have killed her. 628. That's 5 with that. Or I should, anyways. Alrighty. She frailed me again, bro. Oh, she's pissing me off. It's crazy. God. No, I need the heal. Put it back. Thank you.
犠牲は避けられません。
God, she's nuts. This boss is crazy. This boss is crazy, dude.
バカめ
Oh my gosh, she just gave me 1,000 bleed again. Oh, you freaking... I'm going for the kill here. It might not work out, but I'm going for it.
力がみなぎる バカめ 世界を我が物にするペリシテ人
50% damage reduction almost.
思い知れ
You probably won't kill her.
犠牲は避けられません。
Oh, that's the wrong person. Crap. Oh well.
聖女たる私の前にひざまずきなさい。私を見よ。
I think I died to the bleed. Ah, death resist. God, Jesus, dude. That fight was crazy hard. What the heck? And we're on normal. Or are we on hard? Am I on hard on accident? How do I tell? Does the H mean hard? Oh, that's why it was so freaking hard. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I was like, why, dude? I was like, it's crazy. Okay, hard's a lot harder than normal, by the way. Like, once you get to later chapters at the start, it's not that bad. When you get to later chapters, it's crazy. The fact I did that without a revive is quite insane. Because that boss was crazy as well. But alright, guys, that's basically my tutorial for Aequor and how I play it. People mostly use Tulu, but I like full Aequor, not Tulu. I think most people that use Tulu don't go full Aequor. I think most people just don't go full Aequor in general, but I love full Aequor. But yeah, that fight was hard. That was crazy. Alright guys, thanks for watching as always. Hope the video was helpful. Bye! Is there, wait, let me, yeah, there's nothing else. Bye!